get this. Let me get this. How's my hair? It's all right. Yeah, try to give it a little bit of body here. I need a haircut. I always say these confidence monitors lead to no confidence because you actually have to look at yourself. All right, let's talk about RG3. Yesterday, let's give some context to this. So you got to talk about Caitlin Clark when we come into this, because I want to give all the context, right? Because I have to infuse my opinion on this, because now I have to react to RG3. Don't you love how we tell RG3 not to comment on everything, but then we comment on everything he says? I think he asked for it, though. Okay, so Caitlin Clark and her performance. She has been ice cold recently, and it's like a historic drought. In her last 4 games, she is 3 of 28 from 3. That's under 11%, 10.7%. And she's been injured throughout that stretch, right? But she's played all the 4 games in question. That's the worst 4-game stretch in the history of the WNBA as far as shooting percentage is concerned. The qualifier there is having to take more than 25 shots during that time, and Caitlin Clark qualified. So clearly she's going through a slump, okay? She's down. Angel Reese is kind of sought a little retribution as to, early in the season she's missing layups, and I'm not saying she still isn't, but people love to get on her about that. That's all you see on social media. Meantime, she has become the fastest player in the WNBA to 450 points and 450 rebounds. She's done it in just 35 games. And she is now in the midst of an NBA record-breaking streak of 6 games with 15 rebounds, 15-plus rebounds, right? And 22 and 15 in her last game against Washington. She's playing her ass off, right? And recently, yesterday, it was announced that she would be on the face for NBA 2K20, or on the cover, she'd be the face of NBA 2K 2026, okay? And right away, some asshole on Twitter posted a picture that was just abhorrent, right? And it was basically they replaced Angel Reese on the cover of NBA 2K26 with just a racist image, right? And immediately, Robert Griffin takes this person with 33 followers to task, and RG3 retweets it, which, first of all, to me is again, I love RG3, by the way. I need to do the quick qualifier. I don't care what anybody says. RG3 is a great dude. I met him several times. He's super nice. He's genuine. And he's an easy guy to like. And I think that's real, okay? There's another side of RG3 that we see here, okay? And I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know him that well. But we're going to chat a little bit about right now, what that is and how we see it. So Robert retweets this image, the racist image, and then talks about, hey, I'm against racism. This is ridiculous. We can't do this. But then it was as though he was waiting on the moment, because I'll get into a little bit. Just read the first paragraph. He said, all right, this has to stop. There's no place for racism in this world. Whether you like a player or not, Angel Reese should never be called or depicted as a monkey. That was the picture that was put on the cover of the game. And then he goes on, and he kind of seems like he goes to the victim. I have been quiet on the Angel Reese front because she shared a video that aided in my wife, kids, family, and friends receiving death threats of physical harm to my family and friends, and threats of sexual violence to my children on social media and beyond. Okay, that's a tough read. I mean, it truly is. That will never be okay with me. And here's where it gets interesting. Let me skip to the next paragraph. People in Angel's inner circle called me and told me I was right, and Angel Reese has grown to hate Caitlin Clark because of the media always asking her about Caitlin and being constantly compared to her. So Angel Reese quickly responds dude, basically she's kind of like a thinly veiled shot back at RG3. People are coming on this app and they're lying. That's lame. That's nasty, right? So then RG3 gets back involved, and I'll read you his last tweet, because yes, I am going through this, right? He said, I spoke up in support of Angel Reese against racism, not to start drama, but I won't let anyone twist the truth just because it's inconvenient to them. Instead of trying to check me, just tighten up your circle. He's talking about Angel Reese. They calling me and saying you hate Caitlin Clark, not the other way around. I have zero interest in being the villain in anyone's story. I just want to have fun, tell the truth, and celebrate sports. But I won't pretend to lie, or I won't pretend or just lie to protect feelings. Okay, so at that point, this was my favorite part about this whole thing. From on high, Martin Luther King's daughter, Bernice, parachutes into this, right? She's actually the CEO for MLK Center for Nonviolent Resolutions and Social Change. And she is actually kind of like the godmother of like Twitter, and she will weigh in every so often on issues like this. And she does her best to bring resolutions to them, right? Nonviolent and sensible resolutions, sort of like an extension of her father, you'd like to think. And honestly, evidence speaks to that. So then she responded to that last tweet I read, and she said, I agree. That's why I suggest you call Angel Reese and stop posting about her. Like, come on, Robert. Like, seriously. Like, and so I don't understand if Robert is doing this to give himself a boost in the world of social media, or in, just maybe he wasn't feeling it. Sometimes we put stuff on social media and we're looking for that endorphin hit. We don't even know as to why we're doing it until we get the endorphin hit, or maybe we don't get it. Robert and Ryan Clark, certainly in the news about a month and a half ago. I think it was back in May when, we don't have to relive that, but clearly that I don't even want to say raised RG3's profile, but certainly put his profile right back out there front and center. A fear of mine for him, and this is a very real fear. He just signed a deal as the number 2 analyst for Fox College Football. Hey man, like I would hope he kind of backs off. Like, be careful. Like, Fox is pretty cool. Like, they will allow a little bit more of stuff like this as opposed to ESPN. I mean, if you look at Fox, right, a great example, and I love Fox for this. Like, they just re-signed Carissa Thompson. She's awesome. They just re-signed Aaron Andrews. The Carissa Thompson thing, if you remember, like a year and a half ago, she was in hot water because she said when she was a sideline reporter that she used to make up reports. Like, it was kind of said tongue-in-cheek. But you got the idea. She could have gotten in trouble for that. What does Fox do? They re-sign her. So RG3 probably has a little bit more wiggle room over at Fox, but like I would just like risk reward. And then let's get to the Baylor part of it. Okay. Like, again, I've had an experience with RG3. I had just broken up with a girlfriend, right? So I had to move back from Dallas to Waco, where I was doing the news at the time. This is like 3-4 years ago. I had spent all this money trying to buy a house with this woman, and it was still locked up in the house, right? So I moved back to Waco because we break up, and I'm asked to volunteer at a camp for RG3. And it was a vulnerable time in my life. We've spoken about vulnerable times in my life. So I'm working this camp with RG3 and a bunch of other dudes, a couple other guys who played with him at Baylor. It was a lot of fun. We were out there at he put on a free camp, totally free. I think it was for Hewitt High School. I think I'm wrong about that, but I'll get it right. And I think it was Hewitt. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we're not expecting anything. It's a long day. We're in the sun. We get a card. It's a thank you from Robert, and it's $200 cash. Like, dude, we were told we were volunteering. It was a great experience hanging with these kids. It was kind of like underprivileged kids. Robert gave them a free day of football camp. And look, dude, I needed that money at that time. Like, that was huge for me, right? And that was super cool of him. And so that really, truly is the kind of guy he is. All this stuff we're seeing, I don't know if that's the guy he wants to be. I don't know if he sees himself as a wrestler, but these are like very serious topics. Like, I don't know why he wants to be a lightning rod for controversy. And back to the Baylor part of it, where we look at him as a family member, like, he really is the guy that you just look at and you say, like, we love this dude, but he's kind of nutty, man. Like, he's like, I had an Uncle Dennis, right? Uncle Dennis, I loved him, but Uncle Dennis would go outside of the family and do crazy stuff. And you'd be like, man, that's our Dennis. We love him, but oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that. Same thing with RG3. I still will always love him because of the experience I told you about, and just because of my affiliation with Baylor and all that he brought to the school, such an important part of Baylor. And you know what? In 2 minutes, let's just bring Cam up and we'll have him join this segment because I want to keep it rolling with him. But I also, here's one last point I want to make about this, and this is kind of pointed, but the more and more this starts to appear on my social media feed, I'm starting to believe this, right? I think RG3 is starting to show us why he was incapable of leading his teammates in the NFL. This is evidence, right? This is the kind of stuff where it's like, it's almost as though like you play a round of golf with someone, you really get to know who they are, right? Because it's 4 hours. And if you play with me, it's going to take longer because I suck, right? You really get an opportunity to get to know somebody, warts and all. Whether the person is a great individual, I'd be like, this guy's a weirdo. I think that's kind of where RG3 is starting to come down in pop culture society. And I really hope people don't look at him or paint him as a villain, because he's not. He can't get out of his own way, and he makes it about himself constantly. And I think that is why he's really struggled with his teammates in Washington. And I don't know that he struggled in Baltimore or Cleveland, but certainly in Washington. I mean, he lost the locker room. And, that is, you don't have to look hard to find that evidence of that. And I think this is more evidence of that and who the guy actually is. But I hope he chills out, because I don't want to see him lose his job at Fox. Much like what happened to him. It's been less than a calendar year ago. He was let go by ESPN. And depending on who you ask, that's way above my pay grade. There's reasons as to why he left. So let's bring up Cam Stewart. Cam Stewart is our resident Baylor expert, and he's my guy, dude.